Chirag Aswani. The concept of finding the right partner, right relationship, is quite vast. I look at it that everything about nature is here to explain us what we are about. The Shiv and the Ling, the most purest form of creation, also talks about the same. And a signal to say that our bodies are the temples of our God, and we have to respectfully keep our temples clean, tidy, and with a lot of care, affection, compassion, and positivity. It is we who is responsible for every action that goes on with our temple and in our temple. There are two types of bodies. One is the physical body, and one is the soul. The physical body has needs, but the soul does not have needs. The needs of a body could be temporary, but the connection of a soul is permanent. It's natural. The need of a body can be created. The need of a soul is not ever a need. It's a creation which is natural. Like the way you clean your own temple, we have an option of self-pleasure and self-satisfaction. Rather than allowing someone else to come and destroy you with their negative energy or an unknown energy which could be negative. Because when you make out with a person who is unknown to you, the very fact of a lingam penetrating into a yoni, in short, an intercourse happening, is itself exchanging a lot of vibrant energies which you're unaware about. And all the hard work of positivity done on you can be destroyed just by that one act of a little bit of pleasure for a certain amount of time. A spine, the eyes, which are your windows, the spine, which is your transmitter of your energy from your kundalini upwards into your brain, which is the crown, is taken over in complete control by a person who you do not know wants good for your temple or not. The concept should not be of he or me. It should not be of I. It should be of us. There should be a oneness, and oneness should only be unconditional and forever. When I is replaced by we, illness becomes wellness. Or if one is added to one, the strength is of 11. Our body has got a body, which is this physical body, and a soul. The physical body has a chit which has a vast amount of memory, beyond imagination. If you go and see the mirror, you could have the eyes of your great-grandfather, the chin of your great-grandmother, the teeth of your great-great-great-grandfather, the nose of your far-fetched ancestors. Why? Because the physical body does not forget. It remembers everything. And hence, when you allow another physical body to penetrate in you, and when there is a merge of two physical bodies, the body remembers. And when it's too many partners, the body gets confused. Because how much memory and how many partners is also a question. It confuses your body. When there is a river flowing in one direction, it's beautiful. When the ocean and the waves of the sea are flowing towards the beach, it's beautiful. When the river is flowing from one direction, which is one lingam, into one yoni, it's beautiful. When the river comes from various directions, it's quite dangerous. Because when the river is flowing from various directions, there could be a flood. There are more than 10 million sexually transmitted diseases which are going on, either because of unawareness or carelessness of human beings today, which we refer as adultery. We human beings have created this for a reason, because we have needs and we do not believe in self-help. But there's a difference in human creation and an animal. Animals live for survival. Human beings simply cannot live with just the mode of survival. And there is society pressure. So in order to overcome the needs of society pressure, they get into a system of arrangement called marriage, without knowing the partner. And if it's not for marriage, then it's to fill a void, again without knowing the person well, and to absorb the body energy of that person into you without knowing how is that energy and how badly could that confuse your body. Because physical memory has a lifespan, and that's why it remembers your great-great-great-great-grandfather's features sitting on your face. Years and years ago, in India, people would commit about their children that my son will marry your daughter when they were 3 years old. By the time they were 14 or 15, they already knew who's going to be their partner. There was contentment. And there was no case of divorce or fidelity in that time, because the subconscious was fed that this is going to be your wife. And so the love grew from the time they were small, and the subconscious mind was fed with the security of having a partner for life. There was no divorce, there was no fidelity in that time as much as today. And now, when it's become so much easier for us to find our partners because of the technology and the advancement of science in many ways, we are taking undue advantage of that and disrespecting our body. When we go to buy a product in the market, we look at the price and the pleasure that we get with the product. When we are choosing a partner, we do the same thing. We look at the external worth of the partner, the pleasure that we're going to get, but not other things. A man once gave 1 lakh rupees to 3 women because he was very wealthy. 1 woman spent it on getting fixed deposits of 10 years. The other woman got herself a cruise, and the other woman got herself some jewelry and an iPhone. If it was you, who would you choose out of these 3 women? What decision would you take, and on what logic? And the guy chose the woman who was the prettiest because he thought he's got a lot of wealth. So it's not about how she spent the money. Money he anyway has. He thought this woman is beautiful and that's one thing I lack. He wouldn't consider himself handsome. And so he went with the woman who was the most beautiful, irrespective of how logically the money was spent by her. The point here is that we all are looking at the money and the beauty. That is the price and the pleasure. That's what we do even in our daily life. When we go to buy something, we look at the price and we look at the pleasure. But we omit the most important thing to be looked at, which is called the purpose. What is the purpose? Do you really need it? If yes, would you need it all your life? So when you love someone, there should be only one reason. No utility, no pleasure, but the purpose, and the purpose should be unconditional love and no other reason. A person asks you, do you want a cake or do you want a French fries? We all know that the cake is a more elegant and a more expensive one to choose from. So many of us would go for a cake just because of the fact that, oh, it's a cake. But you won't ask yourself that what do you feel? What is the purpose? What tastes better? Very few of us look at the purpose. Under society pressures or under the reason to fill a void, we get it involved into adultery. But we don't wait for the right time and the right moment for the right person to come in our life. And when things don't go fine because of we being impatient, we blame the universe and not ourselves. Or we blame the other person but not ourselves. We have to look at ourselves first. Not just the mirror work of waking up in the morning and telling or making a promise to our own self to do the right thing, but also a mirror walk, a reminder that the mirror is always walking to you in your shadow, so you know and you're guided upon every step that you take which accounts towards your karma. Many people think waiting for so many years it's impossible. They don't forget the spelling of impossible itself means I am possible. At the same time, when people consider them imperfect, you have to remember the spelling itself means I am perfect, which means you can perfectionate the one that was not perfect about you. We all get a chance to correct our behaviors and our karmic cycle. There was a man who hated the birds coming and sitting outside in his garden because they used to eat the seeds and the fruits. He had a heap of bag of stones. He used to remove them and hit them so that they don't come again. Every day for months. Until one day the stone wrongly hit a gentleman who picked it up, walked up to the man and said, "Hey, you know what? I love these stones and I want to buy them from you because this is the purest form of ruby." And the man was shocked to realize that the bag was almost over. All the rupees were over. He didn't value them when he had it. And when he had lost it, it was too late. Similarly, our bodies are temples of God given by God to us, by the Creator. We have to respect them and keep them safe, sound, happy and healthy until it's too late. Once upon a time, Gautam Buddha and his disciples were walking into the forest. Buddha asked one of the disciples, "Can you go and get me some water?" The disciple went to the nearby river to get water for Buddha. While he was walking, he saw a crazy tiger chasing a bullock. He passed by through the water while he was just collecting the water. However, he realized that the water was dirty and so it was not meant for drinking. He went empty-handed to Buddha and said, "I'm sorry, sir, the water is not clean." Buddha gave a smile and said, "No problem, sit down." After 45 minutes, Buddha asked the same gentleman, "Can you please go and get me water?" Everybody was surprised. He said, "But sir, the water is dirty." Buddha said, "Please go." This time he returned with clean crystal water and everybody was surprised that the same lake, how was the water clean? Buddha said, when you went there was an aggressive tiger facing a bullock who was scared, trying to save the life. A lot of negativity. The water was upset. The mud in the water was upset. Everything was haywire. Nothing was of use. Too much of negativity. We couldn't drink the water. After a period of time, the mud in the water eventually settled down. When the mud in the water settles down, the clean water was up onto the surface and was great for drinking. Similarly, our issues in life are not permanent. Everything, all the difficulties settle down. And we have to be patient because patience is virtue and virtue is grace. We have to be patient for the right person to come in our life. Adultery is not a solution, but patience is. And your body, which is your temple of God, has one key. And that key needs to be given to one priest for a lifetime. We should love and learn to love and respect our body, our soul, which is our temple, a temple of God. Chirag Aswani. The concept of finding the right partner, right relationship, is quite vast. I look at it that everything about nature is here to explain us what we are about. The Shiv and the Ling, the most purest form of creation, also talks about the same. And a signal to say that our bodies are the temples of our God, and we have to respectfully keep our temples clean, tidy, and with a lot of care, affection, compassion, and positivity. It is we who is responsible for every action that goes on with our temple and in our temple. There are two types of bodies. One is the physical body, and one is the soul. The physical body has needs, but the soul does not have needs. The needs of a body could be temporary, but the connection of a soul is permanent. It's natural.